Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing something a bit different and seriously insane. We're taking the Airbus A400 out of Kingston, Jamaica, straight into the heart of Hurricane Melissa that's tearing through the Caribbean currently as we speak. Today isn't your standard flight. We're flying through the eyewall and testing this aircraft can handle in Microsoft Flight Simulator 25. The winds are over 65 knots. Zero visibility, and the turbulence is going to be off the charts. Make sure you stay tuned till the end. Let's see if the A400 can survive this one. We're lined up on the runway at Kingston. You can see how wild the weather already is. We've currently got an airspeed of 42 before we're even off the ground. The flaps are set for takeoff. Flight controls checked. And these 4 turbo props are spooled up and airspeed is now alive. We're rolling. You can feel the aircraft fighting the crosswind from the start as we roll down the runway, picking up airspeed, and I don't think it's going to take us very long to get airborne here. Probably like a kite in a windy day. And there we go, we're rotating and we are airborne and climbing out into the clouds as lightning strikes towards the end of the runway, and you can tell this is going to be an absolute beast of a hurricane, with rain driving in already, which will just about start hitting the glare shield any minute. As we depart out of Kingston, we're going to aim for 6,000 feet with a steady airspeed of around 200 knots. There's the rain kicking in now, and as we depart out of Kingston, we'll make a right hand turn and then we'll push higher once we're clear of the heaviest turbulence, and we're going to start entering the outer bands of the hurricane after we make this turn, as we turn on the window wipers, just because we're going to need it, folks. We are seriously going to need it throughout this. As we start the right hand turn now, tracking in towards Hurricane Melissa, towards the outer bands of this beast, and I'm sure you'll join me in saying that we are thinking about all the people out there at the moment. Please stay safe. I know we take these things as a bit of fun on Flight Simulator, but this is real world weather. These are real world lives, you know, so let's keep our fingers crossed for everyone down in Jamaica and hope that everyone's all okay. As you can see, the clouds and the visibility dropping very fast. The aircraft is starting to shake, bounce side to side as it gets very, very dark. There are some gaps in the clouds as we are going through, and the wipers are working overtime. Some external views to show you what we're currently looking at, but inside it's dark, raining, and we're currently hitting a 46 knot headwind, which, I mean, this is only going to start picking up its intensity as we start flying towards the centre of this hurricane. And to come away from the hurricane for just a second, for a beta, and you know, a beta build on the PS5, it's absolutely insane in the performance in the weather that we're getting here as we load up the EFB to show you the weather radar and what we're currently, and you know, we've only just seen the start of this. We are in the green, and when I was currently plotting this flight, as you can see, the arrival point was the actual eye of the hurricane, but which has now moved down to the west and to the north, and to the north of that eye of the hurricane is some intense weather, which we are going to go flying through. I've been tracking the hurricane during in and out of work today, and you can actually see the intensity of what we're looking at here on windy.com. We have 69 knot northeasterly wind blowing in towards that eye of the hurricane, and we're going to go flying through that part there. We'll do a 180 to come back around on ourselves back into Kingston and try and land this A400 safely. As another bolt of lightning flickers past the cockpit. So here we are making that right hand turn towards the eye of the hurricane. And as you saw from the footage from windy.com on the internet, as we start heading towards the eye and with the severe red intensity patches that we have there on the weather radar, and the radar showing we're heading towards the most violent part of the storm now. We're currently at 10,000 feet and level as we poke through into the eye, as you can see there, just off to the left and breaking through, as another bolt of lightning just flickers past the flight deck there. And suddenly it's calm, there is no rain, we're broken through into the eye, and look at that, just a pocket of clear sky surrounded by towering walls of cloud. It's eerie how peaceful it gets after all that chaos that we've just been flying through, with the sun breaking through into the centre there. That's the eye. We'll go around here for a minute, we'll make a bit of a right hand turn and make our way through the wall, well, along the wall of this eye of the hurricane, before we go diving back in the other side into that big block of red there. And it's amazing, after everything that we've just been through, and with this big black cloud ahead of us, just of how peace and calm the eye actually is. Okay then folks, so as we say goodbye to the eye and we head back into what is look like it's going to be an absolute nightmare, we head into the clouds once again, and the windscreen wipers are going to be working absolutely overtime again going through here as we just plunge into darkness, and it's actually impressive how these aircraft hold up in these brutal storms. Okay, so this is the roughest part of our flight now. We are absolutely in the red, and as you can see from the EFB radar there, it's only given us a certain amount of coverage of the hurricane that we're flying through here, but instantly back into the turbulence, the lightning, the heavy rain, and sooner rather than later we will start our 180-degree turn to the right and start heading back towards the island of Jamaica, towards Kingston, where we can start making our approach into runway 12 and get this bird safely back onto the floor. As you can see, the aircraft is taking a bit of a beating. The flight deck is jumping around quite a lot as we go to make our turn now. And again, all of this has been captured on PS5 base. I'm not running on Pro. The only thing that I will say is that with the PlayStation being in one part of the house, I am running this through a PlayStation portal. So all the footage that you are seeing is captured on my PlayStation portal. I am not using a mouse or a keyboard. Everything is all done with the analog sticks, just your basic buttons. Yeah, it's not the greatest of setups. I will be getting some more gear to add towards the PlayStation 5 once the full build is out, and where we'll be making more and more content as we take a view outside, and you can barely see the back of the aircraft as we're ploughing through this intense part of the Hurricane here. I mean, it's absolutely insane what we're seeing here, and just the raw strength of Mother Nature itself is absolutely insane. Okay, we'll start descending back into Jamaica now. We're going to keep the speed as stable as we can. We are on autopilot at the moment. Currently at 10,000 feet. As we start to make our descent now, bringing that down to around, we're currently at 7,000. Let's set that to 6,000. 6,000 where we started. Let's take it to that and set that down, and we'll start making our descent shortly as that starts to kick in. And I have to say, this has been one of the most dramatic flights I've done so far. I thought the Seattle arrival on Saturday was pretty bad, but this is actually something else, and it's a real test for the A400's handling in extreme weather. We are still facing ourselves with a 50 to 55 knot crosswind coming in from the right hand side, and as we go through up towards Jamaica and doing a right hand turn into Kingston, we'll be greeted with that with a headwind, with lightning again just off to the centre as well. As we're descending through the clouds now towards 6,000 feet, just going past 8,000 there. Doing 240, so we're still under the 250 limit, but we'll try not to exceed ourselves on that one as we start to bring ourselves back towards Jamaica. Okay, as we have hit landfall now, we're starting the right hand turn towards Kingston. We're at 3,500 feet, we're at 180 knots. The flaps are set. We're going to be braced with a strong crosswind now, and getting a very, very strong headwind. And you'll have to forgive me, I did turn on some of the virtual assistance, as I needed a point to aim towards to get back to Kingston, rather than just solely relying on the EFP. So you'll have to forgive me on that mulligan there, folks. And I'm sure it's one that you'll let me off with as we go past the Spanish town, bringing the A400 back in, nice and steady as we go. The aircraft's taking an absolute beating this evening, taking it through some absolutely insane weather out in the Caribbean at the moment. But we're going to stay committed as we line ourselves up to get in line with runway 12.
Don't sink.
The airport is barely visible through the rain on the horizon, and we are lining ourselves up now for a nice steady approach, well, as nice and steady as we can with the current conditions that we are facing. We're at 197 knots on the airspeed, just passing through 1,600 now. Lightning still forking off in the distance as we're making some corrections to line up, and it's it's hard to make out where the runway actually is. I'm struggling here. and I feel like we're losing quite a bit of altitude as well, and we could be suffering from some wind shear and some microbursts, as we're doing our best to keep the bird in the sky at the moment, guys. Some throttle input there to try and keep us up and stable at level altitude.
1000.
And lightning striking again just ahead of us. Oh my god, the weather is absolutely insane here, guys. As we're trying to line up now with runway 12, as we make our finals into Kingston, as we go across the choppy sea again, and we are battling microbursts here and wind shear, and we need to make a correction here because we're not even lined up with the runway at all here in Kingston. Oh my god, as we make a left-hand turn for correction, barely just under 1,000 feet as we're battling the wind shear, which is absolutely terrible, with the headwinds as well that we have here. So we bring it in to line it up with runway 12. Some small corrections needed, and I'm not going to lie, it's probably not the bestest of approaches that we've got here. Keeping the speed stable at 180 knots, the flaps are full, the gear is down. As you can see, we're still being pummeled left, right and centre with these winds, trying to crab the aircraft in over the sea, so there's no room for error on this one.
300.
And we're being knocked left, right and centre as we've got a massive microburst go toga to try and bring the airspeed back up and to try and save ourselves with 300 feet off the floor. Oh my god, are we actually going to make this? Throttle back to try and bring the aircraft in, just barely keeping it up. 250 and touchdown, crabbing it and rolling. Reversers are full, the brakes are locked in, the spoilers are up, and we are down back in Kingston. And I have to say, guys, that was one of the worst approaches I've had in a while, but you'll have to give me a bit of breathing space, as you know, this is a category 5 hurricane that we just flew through and landed. As even still, we're parked on the tarmac and we're still getting an average of 30 to 40 knots of airspeed. So whew, guys, let me know what you think of this one. We went hurricane hunting. Let us know your thoughts on the video, drop a comment below, rate the video at 1 out of 10, and I will be sure to catch you out on the next one, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in.